another episode of Seeing Sentai. I'm Mars Girl. We're still talking about Battle Fever J. Today we're on episodes 8 through 14. Not a whole heck of a lot of story progression over these last 7 episodes. In fact, I guess I'll just prattle off some names of some monsters, and then I guess we'll go from there. If you're trying to watch along, you can look forward to such fantastic monsters as Sports Monster, Icicle Monster, Nauman Monster, Cobra Monster, Monster Roselinka, or Badarenka, depending on whether or not what you've watched has been translated, or if they bothered to translate it, Egg Monster, and Galaxy Monster. So realize, of course, this, unlike the beginning portions of Jaka Dengekitai, is kind of not serious at all. And I suppose if you're coming into it like that, that's completely okay. It is fine for this series to not be taking itself too terribly seriously, and in a lot of cases it really does not. For example, I feel like Egg Monster is a completely ludicrous dude who comes out as this bizarre egg that makes chicken clucking noises after he's just been born, and then he turns into an egg, and then he hatches from that egg, and he's a rooster with a golden crest that they've painted gold, and I hope to God they used non-toxic gold paint on that rooster, and then that rooster starts laying golden eggs, never mind the fact that roosters do not lay eggs. But to be fair, they addressed that in the episode as well, that roosters should not be the ones laying eggs, but they did it anyway, and somehow eating fried eggs from this golden rooster and this golden egg makes people feel better, and then it brainwashes them into loving the evil organization of Egos all that much more. It's really crazy. It's really ludicrous. It is. I'm not going to try to make you think that it's not as ludicrous as it is, because it absolutely is completely and utterly bizarre. Similarly, the last monster that I just watched out of episode 14, who is simply called Galaxy Monster, he's just really friggin' ugly, and for some reason he's getting paired up, or he's being shown pictures of a whole bunch of really pretty ladies who are all born on leap year, you know, on February 29th of whatever given leap year they so chose. And he picks a certain one to be his bride, and I guess that gives Egos the opportunity to birth more of their own monsters, and the women have to be born on February 29th. I suppose it's slightly less offensive to say, that they need to bang in order to produce offspring. Otherwise, I don't see why this Shinto wedding ceremony, as performed by Commander Header, is really particularly important. But, well, there you have it. Super ugly monster, really pretty lady. Some of the episodes have had increasingly better fight choreography during the big major battles. Some of them are pretty cool because for some reason suddenly the members of Battle Fever will end up taking the grunts' guns and then shooting directly back at the grunts, and that looks pretty extreme. And in some cases, some of the robot fights are okay. They're still kind of mediocre, if I'm to be honest, but hey, they're getting there. It's brand new. They had never done that before. Otherwise, like I said, there's really no overarching thing that you can kind of see growing as of yet, not since this past week. All I can really comment on is how, again, Miss America continues to do jack squat. By this point, pretty much everybody has had their own episode arc. Actually, Battle Japan has probably had some of the fewest episode arcs out of anybody. There's been a lot of episode arcs where suddenly Battle Kenya decides he needs to go help some kids and their pets or something. Or then Battle Cossack will decide that he needs to save the pretty young damsel in distress or whatever. So everybody pretty much gets their turn, but Miss America just sits around and does nothing. She's lucky if she gets any lines in any of the episodes, and I'm talking about, you know, like out of costume, out of Battle Fever costume. there's one episode where she just says somebody's name, and that's the whole usefulness to her. Or an episode where the most she did was exchange the woman's lipstick for a tracking device. And then that was as useful as she was. And then otherwise she does nothing. In fact, one episode, I believe it was the episode with Monster Bararinka, the really pretty bad guy of that particular episode. All 4 dudes in Battle Fever are driving up to the location where she is. You know, Japan is driving his rental car, and the other 3 dudes are on their motorcycles. And there's no 5th person, there's no 5th vehicle, unless for some reason I missed that Miss America was perhaps riding on the back of somebody's bike, or riding along in the car, but they don't ever focus on her, and then suddenly, you know, they all transform into their Battle Fever costumes, and suddenly she's there. I don't know how she got there, but she's there, and so her only use is to fulfill that 5th person role and to be the woman, basically, and otherwise she does nothing, and it is so disappointing after we had 2 relatively strong female characters in these Sentai teams up until this point. And even as Queen was kind of degrading in quality over the course of Jaka once they decided they needed to change how Jaka as a series functioned, she still had so much more screen presence than Miss America ever has over these past 14 episodes. It's embarrassing, and I'm really super disappointed in how little she does. I guess if I'm to round this all out, if there's anybody else I'm also kinda disappointed with, it's Commander Header himself. He really does very, very little. He has so much screen time. He's the only major villain. You know, he reports to Satan Agos, the guy who's running the Agos evil organization, whatever, and yet all he sits there and does is go, oh! Just replying with all these yes sirs, and that's about it. He performed that one Shinto wedding ceremony, I guess, and he didn't even get all the way through that, and otherwise he just kind of talks to Satan Egos and goes, "But sir, I don't understand your plan." He doesn't actually execute any of Satan Egos' plans. He just sits there as a yes man while Satan Egos just pops out all of these little monsters and then sends the monsters on their way. Commander Header doesn't actually command anything. Currently, I don't understand the point in him being there other than just to be, whoa! Quite frankly, I don't have much else to add other than that, but thank you for watching anyway, I suppose. If you are a Patreon contributor, thank you very much as always. If you're interested in looking into what I can offer you through Patreon, go ahead and check me out at patreon.com/MarsGirl. Also be checking out marsgirl.tumblr.com to catch up right along with me as I'm watching these episodes episodically, really. So that's it for this week. Be seeing you next week with another 7 episodes. See you guys!